Welcome back to Bonded by Bravo. I am your host, Amy, joined with my co-host, Dom Jen, aka Jenna. Holy shit.
Oh, holy shit, what?
We have just so much to talk about.
Honestly, I don't know if any Bravo is going to hit this podcast today.
Oh,
like
we
will.
We are in a Love Island hole.
Yeah.
Because what Jenna didn't realize is after Love Island end is when all the drama starts.
The podcast, every single day, it's like another podcast. Actually, it's not even every day. I think it's like multiple. Or 3 a day. And I'm just like scrambling. Yesterday, I sat at home and I watched. I felt like such a piece of shit, but I was like, I have to do it for work. But I had to watch OC, then Jersey. Then I listened to Vile Files with Serena and Cordell. Then later in the afternoon, then it was Call Her Daddy. Then I woke up this morning and did the Kaylor one. I'm like, this bitch is exhausted. I'm tired from all of the content.
It's a lot of content. And the best part is that Love Island UK is still on. So I'm still getting my itty bitty fix. I'm pretty sure Sunday is the finale. So I don't have a lot of time left. And they're like really milking it. So
really?
That's the thing I like about the US is that they don't really, when it's coming to an end. And in the UK, they do these like challenges. They have a talent show. How in the US they had 3 phone calls home. In the UK, parents actually come to the villa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Everyone's.
Huh. Oh.
Yeah.
How long is the UK longer than the US? It feels
52 episodes, yeah.
Oh.
It's usually like 52 or 53.
Like
actually, it's got to be
20 more.
Yeah. So it started June 3rd. And it's usually like the first week in August.
And where are they located?
Right now, they're usually in Mallorca, Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's usually the same villa. I don't know if that's the same for you is.
I asked you this offline the other day because I just was so curious. But I want to ask it on here so that the listeners can hear the answer. I asked you, do the female friendship, or not even just the female friendships, does every season, do the people become as close as they have become, or what it seems that they've become on Love Island USA?
For sure. Like if you go onto the Daily Mail, you'll find they have sections. They have sections for like royal family. They have a Love Island section on the Daily Mail. And so what happens now is like paparazzi starts papping everybody at all the parties and all the, like, it's like this own little cult of reality TV stars in the UK that they're really, I mean, what's happening now to the US stars and how they're blowing up has been happening in the UK for years and years. And I mean, they walk out with $1 million deals. I'm going to use Molly May as an example, like walked out and got one of the biggest deals with Pretty Little Thing. And I mean, she's a multimillionaire right now.
Wow. It is funny. Like, I mean, I know that there's the Ariana of it all, but I don't remember. I've heard of people talk about the Love Island UK. I didn't even know that there was a USA and then this season, and they were like, oh, season 5 and season 6. And I was like, wait, what? This is on season 6. Like, we have all been sleeping on this. But someone did say something about the casting was different this year. Like, they really, I forget where I was reading this, but like, Ariana obviously played a role. This is coming off of Scandival. So like, people are tuned in. The Bravo viewers are tuned into her. But they had also really like nailed their formula for casting in a way that I guess they didn't before.
In the US.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's funny. Also, FYI, they have one in Australia. So when you're in deep February and you're looking for something to do, look at Love Island Australia. And what they started 2 years ago is they have a winter Love Island that's shorter, but get you through the hump. FYI.
Talk about milking the cow.
But it's such a good formula. You have so much come up.
Yeah.
What was your question? You asked me something?
You answered. No, you didn't actually answer it. If the friendships are as like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I
Are they
do
as great
think
as
that
they seem? From these girls at least, like the
100%.
female friendships totally made this season. I think
That is, I'd say it's like that every season. Like if you
okay.
think, like I'm thinking of, oh my God, Millie and Chloe from 2 seasons ago, Love Island, and they have their own podcast. Like a lot of these
Oh,
gals get into
okay.
their own podcasts, and I mean, they become like best of friends. It's so fun to watch.
Well, should we get into the finale?
Let's get into the finale.
Okay.
What were you? I
Okay.
have so many thoughts.
Okay. Good. We have thoughts,
We have
as we
thoughts.
often do. So, what are the things that stuck out to you the most?
Okay, so I know what stuck out to me the most is that all of the couples in the final four had cheated on their significant other in Casa Amor, with the exception of Kendall
Mm-hmm.
and Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it goes to show what us as people like to watch, because when we listened and we saw the finale, how cringe were you by the finale? This happens every time, where they basically act like they go to a prom and then have a wedding. Were you
Oh,
cringed? Cringed.
there's been so many moments like this though. Like nothing will beat the heart rate challenge. Like that to me was,
Oh, you'll get so used to that.
but
You'll
like
get
can you imagine having to
no.
do that? No,
I
take me off the island. I'm leaving Fiji.
I would leave.
Book me a ticket.
I don't know what I would do. I'd probably do like a stand-up act and like a jig, and then be like,
It was so bad.
Anyway, so
bad.
I think for me, the thing that I saw was the most honest connection was Kendall and Nicole. And watching Nicole, I feel like they didn't get as much love as they should have, because they weren't as toxic. And we as a society love a toxic relationship. But seeing Nicole open up to Kendall in that last scene just warmed my little heart, that she felt like she felt safe with him. And I thought that was really sweet. I liked that part.
Interesting.
And God, you're surprised?
Yeah, and I don't think I think people just didn't vibe with either of them individually.
Because they weren't, but I think it's because they weren't chaotic that they didn't vibe with them.
I don't know. I think Kendall's a little I think Kendall lost people when he was so like in casa, like hyping the guys up, like go get it. Like
that's just so
he
funny.
pissed off Serena, I think that's when the tide sort of started to turn, because Serena was like the favorite, and so then it was like, oh, you messed with our girl Serena, so now we're not fucking with you, sort of. And then Nicole I think people would have liked Nicole more if she was an original cast member. I think her being a bombshell paired with Andrea did her kind of a disservice. Like I think people were just like not ready to warm up to her, and then you put those two together and it was kind of like whatever.
And isn't it interesting that people wanted to come for Kendall for just hyping his boys up in Casa when his boys were the one that were doing all the dirty work? Like, it's so ironic that, like, oh, let's not like him because he was hyping everyone up, but he's the one that stayed loyal. And, you know, he wasn't like, oh, he was mad at Serena, but Serena should have been mad at Cordell. Like,
well, she was.
And in essence, and then just being, and like he apologized. I think that when it comes down to it, everyone aside from Nicole and Kendall are creating the relationships. They're creating some toxic shit that we'll see. Like none of those relationships to me have longevity written on them. No one's getting married. It's more like, let's see what happens. So young, and that's why I think, because
except Kendall and Nicole.
Yeah, I think for me that's why I said like maybe they're the oldest ones on there. So many other shockers, but go ahead.
I will say, like, with that, what I said about Nicole and Kendall, I was shocked that they were fourth. Like, I am really shocked by the internet, and I usually find when I have a thought or a feeling, it's pretty much reflected online. Like, every time you get online, it's like, when you see memes, it's like such a reminder that, wow, we are all the fucking same. This is not the Janae and Kenny. I am so shocked by the love that they're getting. I understand that like Janae is lovable, but I am not. I am so shocked that people are buying Kenny. I am so blown away by that because every time she like is excited around him, he's so like, yeah, like cool. Like I'm not feeling it
There's
at all.
no energy.
And I'm so shocked that the rest of the internet is feeling this. And like they really think that this is like that they were worth winning third place. Like I was really shocked by that. Where are you at on
To
that?
me, I think it's Janae's energy, not Kenny's energy. Kenny was being a goofball a little bit in the last episode, and I was like, oh, because how she baby talks him usually gives me the ick. But then I was watching him do the same to her, and I was like, oh, is this like, I couldn't imagine the conversations that they have. I was listening to Watch What Crappens, and they were saying how Love Island has the perfect recipe of just getting hot people in a villa where they don't have to have serious conversations and they just can talk about dumb things all day. Like, oh my God, do you have bees in London and in the UK? And do you have sushi? And like, that's all that they have conversations about. And to me, that's Janae and Kenny. Like, what do you guys talk about? Is
I
there
don't
any
know.
depth in there? If you
I
had
don't know.
your dream lineup, how would it have gone in the final four?
It would have for sure been Serena and Cordell. Leah and
Winner.
Miguel, I think, would have been fourth.
Same.
Just because I like them and I like that. And Nick Viles was saying this on the podcast or whatever, on his podcast. The thing that I couldn't put my finger on what I liked about Miguel is that he doesn't overpromise anything. He's like very just like, I'm not going to tell you I love you just like all these other people are. I'm not going to tell you, you know, all these like things that probably aren't true. I feel like he came into and he said it on the podcast. Oh, not So Good It's Bad with Ryan Bailey. He was saying on that podcast that he didn't go in there really for love. Like he didn't really go in there for friendships either. He went in there because he was getting recruited from UK and USA. He kind of had his pick of the two, got to know, like, kind of get a vibe for the recruitment process, liked USA better and was like, yeah, why not? And
Yeah.
I felt that. Like I felt that from the beginning, and I don't think he tried to convince us, the viewers or the girls, of anything different. And it's like it kind of is a little fuckboy, but it's like very transparent fuckboyish, and I kind of like that.
I also think in the real world, him and Leah I just don't see longevity there. I thought it was interesting, and I know we'll get into Call Her Daddy, that she didn't once ask Rob, are you with Cassie? She never once even brought that question up.
So
so
I have a lot to say because the comments are going off on Call Her Daddy.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. They're not positive at all.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks she phoned in. Like, did she even watch the show? Because she kept referencing the edits and only the edits. And so all the comments are like, did you phone this in? Then they're comparing it to Bethany with the Rachel interview. And it's not going well. Hold on, but let's circle back to just the finale before we get into the podcast stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess the other two that I would have chose, Janae and Kenny would have been out. Sorry, I love you, Janae, but I wouldn't have put them in the four. Although I don't think it's going to go the distance. I do think Kayla and Aaron being together from day one should have put them at least in like third place.
I loved that they weren't in the finale. I loved it.
I think probably a lot of people did. I just don't know, regardless of like the situation and like what they went through. To me, I saw them way more than I saw Janae and Kenny. Like, I don't see Janae and Kenny at all.
And they'll be broke. I just think like these, like they're not going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, so what happens now after the first?
the thing that's so frustrating to me about I think Kenny's faking it, and that's what really is
I
turning
don't
me
think.
off.
See, for me, I don't think Kenny's faking it. I don't think there's anything really going on up here, Kenny. And that's, I just like, you look at him and you're like, what do you think about butterflies and rainbows, sir? Like, what's ticking up there? What do
The
you do for
rodeo.
work? I would love to know. That's
What does? Yeah.
but and like you hear their conversations and you're like, this is all you, okay. Like, thank
Yeah.
God I am not a super hot person, because like at least I have a fucking personality. Like, you realize how young these people are, that they've never had to have a personality to get chicks or guys, and they just, I think that's what you're seeing, in my opinion.
Yeah. What
I'm
else from the finale? Leah
the
being so
people
shocked was fascinating.
I really like Leah. I think
Me too.
people made such a big deal about this Rob and Leah conversation and how everyone's rooting for Leah and Rob, and I just could not root for them less. It's
I
not
can't
it for
see
her.
them. No,
And for
he's from
her.
Alabama. She's from Calabasas. Like, it's not happening. It's just not happening. The other thing I loved about the finale is Cordell straight up forgetting that there is a winner. Did you hear him say that?
No.
He said it in the finale, but then it was addressed like on the bio files yesterday. Totally forgot. He's like, at the end when they call a winner, he's like, oh shit, I forgot there was a winner. And then he was like ready to like jump in the pool or whatever, like do what they were gonna do. And they were like, no, you have like a like there was a prize as well. And he was like, yeah, got you. Like totally forgot, which makes his experience and like who he feels so much more authentic. Like he totally forgot that there was a prize. He thought the prize, I guess, was like love. Like I think was the prize. And so yeah, then he was asked about it again in the bio files, and he's like, yeah, I had no idea. I forgot. Like, I don't know. He's like, I got some friendships. I got a girl.
He's so, I really like him. I'm so happy that they won. And again, I think it just goes to show how we like what we like. And we like a little chaos. We like a little toxicity. We like people fighting and winning back. And these like hard, tough love stories that are just drama.
Disney.
I'm sorry
Disney
to say,
fucked us up
Disney,
from a young age.
It really fucked us.
Which,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask which of the dates did you think, like, which date would you have preferred?
I always fast forward the dates. I hate them.
Okay.
I hate when they talk about their stupid feelings. I'm like, this is such bullshit.
I mean, like, activity wise, because I heard on a different podcast saying like
they usually don't do activities. Was interesting.
Oh, okay. Because I heard on a podcast someone was saying that Serena and Cordell got like the best one, and I was like, oh, I thought that was the worst one.
Did they do the hot air balloon?
No, that was Kendall and Nicole. I thought like the horseback riding for Leah was like, I mean, I don't know really, I've never really been that close to a horse, but I was like, oh, this like fits her personality. Yeah, when would I have been by a horse?
You've never been horseback riding?
No. I rode a pony once when I was like 7 at
You've never like been on a vacation where you went on a horseback ride?
No.
I'm so confused.
I'm confused that you're confused.
Go ahead.
Have you?
Yeah. Okay. More than once.
Weird.
Well, that's what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say, and you're gonna roll your eyes.
Okay, say it.
Well, once when I was young in New Mexico, and twice in Costa Rica.
Oh, Costa Rica! Here it is.
Yeah.
For all of our listeners,
that's why I'm gonna say it. Shut the fuck up.
I'm just kidding. But now you got to fill them in. Guys, it was a really long-running joke years ago. Amy came back from living in Costa Rica for a year, and every sentence started with, in Costa Rica. And so then we just started to say, hey, have you ever been to Costa Rica? Have you ever been? It's a nice there.
Doesn't sound
okay,
like
so we've been horseback riding. Yeah, anyway, I thought the other dates kind of sucked. I was
Wasn't
like,
there an ATV? Wasn't there ATV?
Is that what they did?
Yeah, that I would like to do that one. That's what I would
maybe
do.
maybe that's what Leah did. Maybe it wasn't horseback riding. Maybe there were horses out there that she could see.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Oh yeah, that's what it was. The ATV. That sounded like I was like, that's so fun.
I would do that. Also something I did in Costa Rica many times.
I've done that a lot, and my foot got stuck. Ugh, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The thing was still running. We had to hide it from my friend's dad, so I had to sit behind a shed with my foot like so swollen up because it got stuck in the tire, and she like I couldn't scream, and I was like banging on her back. It was kind of gnarly.
This is what happens when you move to the suburbs.
Yeah. Literally, this is what happened. I was like, I don't know what's happening here. Okay. What else?
Put me on one of these.
I know.
But that's the thing too, because in UK they go on these like lovey-dovey dates. They go on a boat. They go to these villas. They have violinists, and like out here in the US, they're making them do all these activities. Like I would never want to go in a hot air balloon. No, thank you.
I think it was just parasailing.
Oh, another thing I would never do.
I did that in Jamaica once. It was fine.
See, and like you didn't freaking ride a horse in Jamaica on the beach. Like, don't act like I'm crazy. Okay. I hated all of those dates. I thought they were stupid, and I fast forwarded to get to the good stuff.
Perfect.
To be honest,
love that for you. Okay,
great. I know it tracks. I know.
All right. Well, then, should we just move on to some of the aftermath?
I would love to.
Okay. So I think first thing that came out, we'll kind of just try and go in a little bit of order. This is not podcast. Yeah. The Kendall video that got leaked.
Did you see it?
I didn't. I tried to find it.
Explain what it is, because I've heard what it was, and I don't know if I heard the right thing.
I ended up on this video that like I couldn't really tell if it was him. I only saw like a hand or two, but it was basically like, and if I could be so off, like this, I clicked on this. Allegedly. I clicked on this link because I wanted to find the video. I was like, what are people talking about? Clicked on this. It was like, link is in the comments. So I went to the comments, clicked on the link. It took me to some weird porn website kind of vibe. And I was like, whatever, I'll still hit play. My computer's probably going to crash. And I was like so curious. And it's basically like, this girl is like, has her at like, it's like she's so reverse cowboy that she's back against his face. No, but he's laying down in the video that I saw. This could be two other people that have nothing to do with this video. That's the thing. Like, it was just a link to an article. I don't know. And there was like ass stuff in there, but like, I think a lot of men are also into that. But
is it his ass or her ass?
Her ass. But there is
That's
like
weird.
A dildo going into her ass, and it's right in front of his face. So like, almost like watching her get penetrated in the ass, but it's like not his dick. He's laying down on his back and her ass is like in his face.
Mom, don't listen to this episode.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm like, I don't even think I'm doing a good job painting this picture.
I'm really trying to picture it because
like saying backlash is homophobic, and I'm like,
oh, shocker. Shocker, straight men being homophobic. What? Oh my God.
But I didn't, if the video I was watching really was the one, I was really having a hard time figuring out what was like homo about it. I was like,
I heard that it had to do something with his butthole on a video. Allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, like so not cool. And the same thing with like Leah's
house
being shown. It's like
the part that you're saying is not cool is that people give a shit about this video, correct?
And the fact that someone put it out, someone that he trusted put this video out as soon as he got a little bit of clout. And like, that's disgusting. That's so shady. And same with like, someone thought they were doing a thing when they posted Leah's house in Calabasas, but that's so invasive. Like, can you imagine coming out of the villa? You haven't had your phone or anything. You come out and all of a sudden the entire nation knows what your home looks like.
That's scary. Luckily, that house looks like it's in a gated community, so she should be just fine.
Yeah, and it looks like pretty much every other house in Calabasas. So there's that, but
poor thing. I'm sorry.
Poor thing. I can't. All right. Should we get to the podcast then?
Please. That house looked like my high school, all of my houses combined, plus all of your houses combined. And I don't even know what your houses looked like. No, not the aesthetic, but like size wise.
That's what it looks like.
No.
Okay, so let's do Miguel. I'll just start with Miguel and So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey.
There's not because
it's so short. Actually, I already said basically what he said about how he was recruited by both, wasn't really coming for friendships, just the experience. Does speak really highly of Leah. Wasn't like expecting to come in and find someone that he would like. He was like, even when I was in Casa, I was really just like, damn, like Leah's a down ass bitch. Like
What did you think about that one conversation that he didn't like because when it showed the side of her, he's like, I don't know if I like that side of her because she was calling out Rob on movie night. And he's like, I don't know if I fuck with that side of her. It's giving me like the ick a little bit. Because that to me, but like that to me, did he really come back for that? Part of me was wondering if like him and Leah were just sailing through to the end.
I think he'd probably bounce back from that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that they all have to have a little bit of like understanding because emotions are so high. And Rob was even saying on Call Her Daddy, like, you're not getting much sleep. Like you are in this sort of like pressure cooker and emotions are high. And he's like, you can never really be by yourself. Like even if he was saying like the reason he went in the pool, he's like, what are they going to do? Fish me out? It was just like, if he was saying like, if he had stormed off by himself, to be alone, a producer would have grabbed him and been like, okay, how are you feeling?
Should we talk about Rob on Call Her Daddy?
Yeah, we can talk about Rob on Call Her Daddy.
So we talk about Alex Cooper. I mean, a lot of people talk about her in podcasting world as like, one of the best for, I'd say Gen Zers, right? Maybe some millennials fuck with her.
Yeah. That's fair.
And for me, watching her give him a platform is what rubbed me the wrong way. I don't
think you're alone.
And I just think like if you are what you preach, why wouldn't you give one of the gals a platform before you're giving this before you give this D-bag a shot? Like, why would you not give it to Kaylor or Leah, or like you went for Rob first because he's the reason you went for him is because he's the most toxic.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the internet is basically saying. They're like, for like saying how he's like the next Harry Jowsey, and I guess she's like pretty tight with him.
Somebody put in the comments, which was the funniest thing, Peacock's Harry Jowsey, and I was like, this is so funny. Yeah. And she signed Harry Jowsey to her network. And after watching the last season of whatever it was, the Ultimatum or whatever show it was, Too Hot to Handle, that Harry Jowsey was on. I used to love Harry Jowsey and think like he was the cute, toxic young boy. And after watching that last season, I just am so good on him. It's like, we're supporting these men, and Rob said it himself. The reason people love me is because I'm a gaslighter, I'm toxic, but I'm just good looking enough to get away with it. And it's
when he said that, I was like, damn, you've been reading the internet, because that's basically that's the takeaway I would have taken away as well if I was him.
It's true. And all those things are true. He's allowed to treat girls his age this way because he's all of those things. He weasels his way out of it. And he did it to how many girls in the villa? However many girls. And then she's giving him a platform.
To be honest, like a hot take, I think she was worse in this interview than he was.
And that's just because she didn't know her shit?
I think also there were some other questions and she kind of was saying it as she was asking, like, people are going to be mad that I'm not asking this question and that question. Like, I would have loved for her to dig a little bit more on, like, it's like she kept bringing up Leah, but like, why not ask? Like, what I really want addressed is Rob is saying, Leah told me she didn't say any of those things. What Leah said is that I didn't say anything bad about you to Andrea.
Right.
And I was really confused. I assumed that Alex was going to touch on that. Like,
Well,
I thought she was going to ask specifically. Well, what we saw is that Leah did tell you that she wasn't talking shit, but she said, I wasn't talking shit on you to Andrea. That doesn't necessarily mean she wasn't talking shit on you in general. How could you expect a girl that just got totally like a slap in the face basically from Rob to not talk shit to her girls back in the villa?
And even on the podcast, the way that Rob acted, like Leah did the worst thing to him by saying, like, by talking shit and being like, you said you were number 3. Now there's 3 people standing up here now and there's not. Like, that's, who cares? You really care about that? He's like, she talked so much shit about me, but I forgive her. The one thing that I thought that was interesting on Call Her Daddy that I didn't even realize, because I was like, oh, I should watch that episode back, was that they never played the group chat with the girls when they made the decision. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they never showed us that footage. I'd be shocked. I would, if they don't come out with that footage, I'm gonna be shocked.
At the reunion. Yeah, and because it could either save Leah or not.
But either way, she looks like the the negative feelings towards her have already sort of come and somewhat gone. Like, if they come up again, whatever. But like, I think it's just either it stays the same or she looks better. I don't know that the video is going to say one thing or the other.
Because even if she was coming for Andrea, I think so many of us would be like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Of course she would. And who cares if Rob,
and I would also be shocked if the other girls weren't backing her on those feelings, because they had like made some real friendships already. So it was more of like, we're going to save a homie, as opposed to, especially because it's Janae, who was one of the girls closest to Leah.
To me, listening to him in that interview, the amount of times I was at the gym this morning and the amount of times that I like had weights in my hand and was just like rolling my eyes at this little boy talking like, oh, I don't want to talk about this, but okay, I'll talk about this. I don't want to talk about this, but okay, I'll talk about this. I just want to go home and wrangle snakes.
I think he's dead serious about that though.
And he said, I don't like LA because it's too much concrete. I will bet you $100 that man has moved to LA, gotten himself signed with some manager, is in a podcast or another reality TV show in the next 4 months. I'll put money on it. You're a liar.
That's
you
what Kyle
want
says
all
too,
this attention. You want all this attention. He's like playing this game of like this demure baby boy. And don't get me wrong, I would have had sex with him and gotten caught up all in his mess.
How old is he? Do we know how old he is?
Oh, God, who knows? He's probably 21.
I didn't mind him so much in this podcast, to be honest. I know that's a hot take. Like, he didn't bother me in the way that I think he bothered a lot of other people in this podcast. I felt like I thought that he was clearly uncomfortable with the whole thing and was answering the questions. But what I couldn't stop thinking, I don't think it's an act, but what I couldn't stop thinking about are those videos that I saw, like those past videos that he did. Mm-hmm. And like, that just stays in my mind because of the privilege, like that white pretty boy privilege that he has and like exploited. I won't forget that. Like, to me, those videos speak way higher volumes about who he is than this entire show. I
watched one last night. I watched one last, and did you hear him call himself a creative? He's like, I'm a creative. I'm an artist. I like to create things. He did one last night, and this is just stupid boy shit, but he doesn't have to worry about the consequences because
that's what's so frustrating.
Like. And I watched one last night where whoever on TikTok, out of all of his followers on TikTok, bet him and his friend to go cook in Walmart.
Yes,
and they went. Oh my God, it was infuriating. And they're getting in trouble, and they're just sitting there getting in trouble.
He looks at the guy, the worker that's asking him to leave and says, what kind of egg do you want? And I was like, the privilege is oozing. And like, that's what I can't unsee.
He's not going to get arrested.
These videos. And this is another thing. Like if Alex had really done her homework, she should have pressed him about those videos. Like that's what, if we got him on this podcast, that's the first thing I am asking. Tell 100%. Me about these videos. And do you understand the privilege that you are displaying by doing these videos?
But that's let's be honest. But yeah, we could ask him that only once, but does he have his PR team there saying like, oh, you can't ask him about that, you know, because that's another thing that happens. Like he's being protected, you know, and it's like, you're given a list of things that you're allowed to talk about. And then there you can,
I frankly feel like not enough people are talking about these videos.
It's wild. The
like,
bank.
Why are we not? Why are we not talking about this?
Where he fucking pretends to rob a bank. Like,
but it's like,
I don't even want to get into this because I'm gonna get so fucking hot.
But it's just like, we want to dig up tweets from these celebrities from 15, 20 years ago and cancel them. But these videos are probably within the last year or 2 years. And they're like really disgraceful. And no one's talking about them. We're all just like, it's fine.
He's just a cute little boy from the South who doesn't. He's just
It's like we are gonna get a little too hype on this, so let's move on.
I'm already hype about it.
Yeah, because
to me, it pissed me off that from what she preaches, call her daddy.
Yeah,
that this is how she chose to. And it's like, it just is going to show her demographic of like young girls, and you're also just promoting then this fuckboy to young girls and.
Yep. All right. We're
I'm angry.
I know.
I really am.
I know. I
want him on Nick Vile's podcast. So Nick Vile can rip him a new asshole.
Yes.
That's what I want.
But I want Nick to ask him about the TikTok videos. Why are we not talking about these videos? All right. I don't want to harp on it anymore.
But if he didn't ask him that, what would you want him to ask him that's related? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that he has a whole PR team now. They come out, they have a PR team. People are going to protect him against that. There's still so many other toxic.
Then directly ask him about his privilege and some of the things. He maybe doesn't have to reference the exact TikTok videos, but like, the fact though, like, I just feel like so few people are talking about it that I don't even know if his PR team knows to not have that on the do not ask, you think?
Yeah, because what they do ahead of time too, which is actually kind of wild, is that they make a lot of these folks like scrub their TikTok, scrub their Instagram.
Well, he did a bad job at that.
But maybe this was his friends, or maybe like you know what I'm saying? Like the videos were already out there, people already captured them, and they were deleted from his. You know, you never know. I don't actually know if I saw it on his or if it was like reposted.
It was like him and his friends like group Instagram or TikTok, like whatever they call them, like almost like the Montana Boys, but like whatever they were called.
I cannot.
Okay. Well,
I think it's also harder, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I think it's harder to getting older watching young girls get caught up in bad decisions I've already made. And like Rob is a bad decision I've already made, and it's like, oh God. You know?
Yeah.
He's such a doofus. I would have had sex with him.
That takes us to. That's a good segue into Kaylor on Bios. So I was actually impressed. She seems way more aware, and then I guess I anticipated when the reason I said good segue is because she said, like, I'm only 22 years old. Like, this is a risk I'm taking with Aaron, but I have enough time to get heartbroken, fall in love again, and frankly, get heartbroken again. Like, she does have that privilege. Like, she's in the fuck around and find out stage, and like, although it can be really gnarly going through that stage, I would not change any of my fuck around and find out stage for anything. Like, I cherish it in a way that maybe I shouldn't.
No, but I also was very surprised, not how articulate she was, but how aware she was of how Aaron might not be the guy for her, and how she's still figuring it out. I loved how she said, like, we had to talk about feelings every single day in the villa, and I'm just so happy to just like go food shopping. And I don't know if this will work out. We're still figuring it out. I don't think he's told me the truth about everything. I am on to his antics.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick said something that was super interesting that I really, really was like, ding, ding, ding.
Mm-hmm.
That on the episode with Cordell and Serena said, Kaylor is dangerously in love with Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know what that means. Like, she'll forgive him at any cost. She won't hold him accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Nick asked her a question like, what if you decided to listen to your friends and not go down this path with Aaron
Mm-hmm.
and choose differently? And just listen to your actual friends and know that, like, if you go down this path, it's going to be kind of a path of misery. We all know what's going to happen. Like,
100%.
we all know.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I know, but I love him and this is what I'm going to do. And Nick's like, fair to you, because I also would do the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, I would too. I did.
We've
Yeah.
all done it already. That's the thing.
100%.
We've already.
I
Yeah, and
did it more
it
than
is
that.
hard when you're coming. I would imagine it's even harder when you're coming out with this shared experience too. So it's
Yeah.
like no one around you can really get it because they didn't just go to Fiji for 2 months and get like basically put in a pressure cooker together. You're sharing experiences there that just no one else is gonna. It's like even how Bravo celebrities get together.
Yeah.
It's the thing. It's kind of like I see you, you see me. Like we're working with the same people. We get the job. We're going out there and putting ourselves out there on a pretty regular basis, and that's just sort of what comes with the territory. And if you're not part of that world, it can be probably like, not for me.
I think Kaylor's going to be surprised how different their experiences were once she sees Casa Amor. And she was saying on the episode with Nick Viall, if you didn't listen to it and you are a Love Island fan or this season fan, you should listen to it, because she says, like, now I'm all mad all over again and I want to go and watch it. And I don't think I'm going to watch it with Aaron. And Nick says, why? And she says, because he might want to talk his way out of it.
I was so happy to hear her say that she's not going to watch it with him, because he would be Nick really described and like characterized Aaron in a way that I was like, yeah, you've nailed this. You have your finger on the pulse with this guy. Like he is Tom Schwartz. He is Tom Schwartz.
Nick Viall does such a good job of articulating characters on reality TV.
Yes. And I'm sure his experience within reality TV has, helped that.
Yeah.
But saying, like, he is so the guy that is so easy to just be like, oh, like, whatever. It's like, fine. You're like cute and funny. And like, it takes more out of me to be mad at you because you're just charming and like, you're here for a good time, not a long time. I don't know.
And he said to Kaylor, he said, I hated when you said to Aaron, it's so hard for me to be mad at you. He said, because now every time he thinks that he's going to make a bad decision, he's going to think of that and think, and I can get away with anything. And she basically opened that door of being able to get away with anything. And it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is.
I think all of us who are a little bit older, maybe a little wiser, know what road Kaylor and Aaron are going down. It's going to be the going through the phones. It's going to be the back and forth, on and off.
It's going to be the on and off.
Yeah,
for sure. I could see this already like a mile away.
Yeah. And she was very honest, I think, too, which was surprising, saying like, I don't want to shit on Aaron, but I'm also like, I know what's happening. She's very aware of what's happening, which is interesting too, and still choosing to go for it. And I've also
think I have to give, a shout out to, I guess, her family and her friends, because it seems like they're really shooting it straight with her.
Yeah.
And they're not sugarcoating it. Like, you did, like, they're not saying all great things. They're like, no, like, I think her best friend said, like, I don't like him. Like, just straight up, I don't like him. And I think it's really important to have people like that around you, for sure, especially coming off of an experience like this. Yeah. But also, like, she's from such a small town of 6,000. Like, I hope that she gets to really experience this, and like whether I kind of hope it's without Aaron.
Yeah.
I think she should, I explore this world and like really like have a good ass time, because as she said, she's only 22 years old.
And I thought it was interesting. She said, I never had good experiences with guys. Like, I don't, because Nick said, you can like really get any guy you want. And she's like, that's not really been my experience. Girl, move to LA, open those DMs. It's going to change for you. And guess what?
Yeah.
Aaron, he's the one.
Speaking of, I didn't realize, and this was brought up on Call Her Daddy, not on this episode. Aaron said love to Daniela twice.
I didn't know that either. Show the clips. I hope that.
I remember that. I watched this with doing an outline. Like, we would have discussed that, no?
I think I might rewatch like a Psycho.
Oh, God.
I know the stress of Casa Amor might do it. But I think he said, and then like they didn't bring that up on Nick Viles to
I know.
Taylor.
Because
that would have been interesting.
Know. That's like.
I also feel like Nick wouldn't have not brought it up if he heard it. Like that would have been in his notes.
Alex did say like, yeah, it's in the fan edits. And I'm like,
what the frick is the fan edits?
I guess it was like, did you hear in the podcast? Like she referenced the fan edits online 1,000 times. And I think that's why people are like, did you watch the show or did you watch a collection of TikTok edits?
God, I would hope not. That would be, if you met, she had to have watched, right?
I don't know. Go through the comments. The comments are not buying it.
Well,
yeah.
I think the next few weeks. So what usually happens on Love Island is I do this all the time. The good thing is that because it's U.S. news, this stuff will be on page 6 when folks break up, which is great because we'll know all about it. And usually the first few weeks you'll hear.
We're like,
I know
it'll be great. We can't wait.
It'll be great. It'll be great. But like, I just really thought it was so interesting that there was no mention of Cassie on Call Her Daddy. She never said
that was about.
Because it's not serious. He had sex with her. That's what that was.
Yeah.
He said, I couldn't even imagine getting into a relationship right now. Like, what? Yeah, because you got 4 dangling in your DMs.
I gotta give Cassie a shout out there, like, too, because I kind of feel like she was also like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'll just have sex with you and see ya.
I mean, let's use Rob what we know that he's good for. And I mean, I wouldn't even know if he's good at that, but
Yeah.
He looks
I bet he's quiet as hell.
Ew. It
doesn't say anything. Oh my God. Okay, stop.
Oh my God, I could throw up. Ew, like a silent murderer.
Okay, so oh my God, stop me. Yeah. He gives like Ted Bundy a little bit.
But do you like that? Like, I don't quiet.
No, I don't like that. Like, let me know.
And then,
are you enjoying this? Like, do I have to survey you mid-sex? Like, how are we feeling? Can you rate this on a 1 to 10? Like, will you like, no, I'm not. No, I need you to vocalize this to me.
And then, like, at the very end, it's just one final.
Oh, okay. Let's move on to Serena and Cordell.
Wait, I have a question. I have a question. If you had to have sex with anyone in the top 6, Aaron,
Miguel,
Rob, okay.
Okay. He's laying it down.
I just got a tingle in my Pringle.
Because you agree?
Yeah. Because I'm like, to me, I think Kendall is
most 2 girls in heat.
Aesthetically pleasing. But like, Kendall is such a nerd that I just would never touch his penis.
Yeah.
But Miguel, yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, Miguel, like, Leah to me is a freak in the sheets. And like, Rob doesn't give that.
Yeah.
Ew.
But Miguel does.
Miguel, absolutely.
Like, Miguel and Leah, I would watch.
I mean, talk about let's leak that video. All right, this is getting so weird.
This is getting so weird. Okay, so
do you think there's more? Oh, great! I thought we were ready to move on to Bravo. There's more.
Yeah. Cordell and Serena on Bio Files.
Okay.
Not like so much to say, but I think those two are just like, so he's moving to LA. for her.
Shocker.
Not
and his modeling career. Just saying.
He even said like he had referenced like his manager at one point. I was like, oh, he's already got a manager. I do like hearing the stories of how they got on the show. Kayla talked about that in the bio files. Like she actually like applied. It seems like the rest of them got reached out to, Serena included.
They should have like a geriatric millennial Love Island. Also, I just want to throw this out there for the Love Island producers. Can you get a girl that has an actual real body on there, like that's maybe over a size 6? Just putting that out there.
All real features. Could you imagine?
Yeah. The horror. The horror. Just putting that out there. Go ahead.
And what was the other thing I really liked about this, it was like they weren't on there for that long, but the other thing I liked about it is like he was Nick had said, he's like, yeah, I went to the ESPYs and basically was like looking for Odell to ask about Cordell, and he was like, how does it feel to be like the more famous brother? And he was like, honestly, like it hasn't really hit me, but that's crazy. And he's like, when OBJ like FaceTimed in or whatever and made the reference to the white party, like Michael Rubin's white party.
Oh my God.
I was like, I remember him saying it, but like it didn't like process. Click. And then we just kind of like went back to the villa and you were still there for like a little bit of time. And he's like, I come out and now like Serena and Cordell are like seeing all of the love. Actually, I just got the chills. That's so weird. Seeing all the love online. And like really kind of like being like, oh shit, like am I more famous than my brother right now? And he kind of is.
I mean, for the moment.
For the moment, but yeah.
For the moment.
But in this moment, he 100% is. Like people love Cordell. And I
loved him.
I think the love that Cordell is getting is like such a, I feel like OBJ is totally going to benefit from this.
100%. And I think it's also genuine, the love for him. There's something that was interesting to me because Nick asked Kaylor this on Vile Files. He said, why do you think people are more understanding of the Cordell and Serena situation than they are of you and Aaron? And I thought that was so interesting to think about because in my head, who cares what's in my head? But here we go.
We do. That's why we have a podcast.
Right, it's true. Cordell came out and he made the decision. He made the decision that he was going to stay with Daya, and he decided to bring her back because he did what he did in the villa. He made the decision, like decisions made, was held accountability for that. And Kaylor kind of says, like, I think it was because he was more accountable for it, that it left more. It was more believable when they got back together. Whereas like Rob felt like he went there and was like, okay, I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Oh, Aaron.
Not Rob, Aaron. God, one in this team.
I know.
Those two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. I think the fact that Aaron got up at one point and like walked away, it was just like, oh, you're that guy. You're like the guy that wants to do whatever he wants to do, but not deal with any of the consequences. Whereas Cordell was like, yeah, I did what I did, and now I'm going to suffer the consequences. And I'm good. Yeah.
Rob walking away in that moment is like the best gaslighter move. Like, oh, let me throw things off and take my mic off and pretend like this is about me because I didn't just fuck this all up. Like, bro.
I can't believe how similar him and Schwartz are. Like, we have watched this already. We've seen this already. This is a total replay of Schwartz from the beginning.
I think that's a great segue. I think we beat Love Island to death, and we're gonna have to wait because there'll be more coming out. But should we get into Bravo?
Yeah,
much. There's some stuff happening.
So Tom Sandoval dropped the lawsuit. Any thoughts on that?
I honestly wasn't surprised. I thought after getting that much hate, I was like, "There's no way he's going to keep this." He's so after what happened last time. I thought he doesn't have the balls to keep it. Thank God.
I normally agree with Nick Files and a lot, but the way he talked about this situation was like, I almost turned the podcast off.
What did he say?
He was like, Tom didn't know what the lawsuit was, and he didn't mean it, and just like being a Tom Sandoval apologist, like I was
so
like,
weird for him.
Yeah, and I was just like,
why delete your page then if you didn't know what it was going to do?
100%. Like Tom Sandoval knew what was going to happen. I actually think it wasn't just the backlash because he's already been down that route and must have known that was coming. I think Bravo got involved. What are your thoughts on that?
I saw that on Bravo and Cocktails, just that Bravo was pissed.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Pissed. And they think that that's why part of it was dropped, because they were like, what are you doing? They were pissed about the situation. I also read on Bravo and Cocktails that this isn't abnormal for someone to do something like this. I remember you mentioned the Bravo docket last week, but I don't know if you listened to them talk about this, just because I'm very curious. From what I read, it was like, this is something normal to then sue the same person, because I don't know. I didn't really fully understand it, so I don't really want to quote it.
So this is kind of a little bit, I think, what Nick was saying. Like, he thinks that the lawyers basically told Tom, like, this is kind of a run-of-the-mill situation. This is how we're going to, like, basically what they're going to do is, because Tom Sandoval's so broke, that the lawsuit that is coming against him, Ariana will essentially pay for his lawsuit with Rachel, which is so disgusting. However, I have read a few things that part of the reason that Sandoval actually doesn't have like a suit against Ariana is because by giving your password to someone, you are now, how do I word it? It's like, you can't, if you have someone's password, then you're not invading their privacy.
Right. Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
You've given access to that privacy.
Right.
So there's like actually no suit there for what he was trying to do.
Fucking loser.
Yeah.
I just like, if I see anything about it, just seems like he's on a dark path whatever's happening. We looked at those videos of him. It's giving like he's going to be on The Surreal Life next summer. FYI, if you haven't watched that yet on MTV.
What?
It is The Surreal Life on MTV. It just started last night.
No, is it
such a shit show? It's so good.
Okay, is this the Chet Hanks, Kim Zolciak thing?
Oh my god, yes, it's really weird. Okay, it's worth it. It's worth a watch.
Yeah, I mean, those are two wild names to put together.
I know. Wait, I do want to say, because we didn't say this, but we have figured out what Brat Summer is and what Brat Summer means.
Have we?
Yes.
Oh, tell me.
I know the dance. Well, I think I know the dance, and I just think that means I know what it is.
Okay.
But I mean,
say more.
Okay, well, I think that's just it compared to what I knew last time.
Okay, compared to what
I know, Kamala Harris is having a Brat Summer,
and so is Ariana. I heard there were two brats this summer. Okay, so my takeaway, and I could be so wrong, is that like it's a I don't give a fuck grunge vibe.
Oh, and I heard that chick say that it's about cigs and a Bic lighter, and I was like, if that's it, I've been having Brat Summers.
Well, see, here's the other thing. Like when I kind of hear, I'm like, wait, maybe I'm just Brat. Maybe I just am living. Maybe I am Brat, and I don't need to have a Brat Summer. I've just been doing it for the last decade. So I think you are
just Brat. I think you are just Brat. You are just Brat. If it's like a little grungy and a Bic lighter, you're the gal.
Damn, sorry. We can keep this in too, but my text messages are blowing up right now because bars are getting robbed left and right around here. And they're just like trying to kind of come up with a plan on like, how do we all feel safe? Oh, they're all within blocks of me too.
Fun.
I know, and I close Thursday and Friday nights.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, you better put that Brat into full effect.
Yeah, for real.
Bring that Bic lighter.
Bring that Bic lighter. Set those bitches on fire. Okay, so Mauricio spotted kissing some actress. Do we care?
I mean, I was surprised by Kathy Hilton's story of Kyle being surprised.
You know, Kyle is like, Kathy, come on.
Don't say that. That's exactly, I thought that too. She says it to page 6. Like, Kathy, shut your freaking mouth.
She's like, oh, here she goes again.
There she goes. I was very surprised by Kathy telling Page Six that Kyle had a reaction to it, but I'm also just surprised a year later that Kyle cares, because from everything we've heard, this was kind of going on, allegedly, things like this during. But I guess to see it splashed on Page Six, it's a little different.
I do like, I know we've talked about age gaps before and how, like, specifically with the Kristen and Mark situation, like, you know, get it, girl, kind of. I think the reason that this would maybe hit a little harder for Kyle is like that the rumors have for years have been with a younger woman. And then to see it on Splash Chicks, it's like, okay, like, not only are you kissing a woman that's not me, like, that's got to be jarring to see, but it's also someone so young that's like younger than some of our daughters, that, or at least like younger than Farrah for sure, or around the same age as Farrah. And so it's like,
imagine that.
I think that's probably, I think if it was like, you know, someone who was like 45 and had her, maybe she was also divorced and had her own kids, like, I think Kyle would be like, I knew he was going to move on. I think it's just the age of this woman.
The other thing,
every rumor was right.
The other thing too, I think, is a woman that if you're a mother and you have children with that man, there's something like, men can always date younger, and like it's a possibility that he could have more children with a younger woman. I know, like, that is,
oh my God, I didn't think about that.
Frightening. I always think, like, if I died young and Meek had someone's children, I would kill him. I would come up from the grave and haunt him. Even though we might not be having children, like, you can't have children. And then imagine Mauricio having kids that aren't Kyle Richards. That sounds, Anywho.
Okay.
I put on here just because I thought this was interesting. I don't know if while you were watching on Sunday, you saw these commercials that these Bravo Lebs are doing, but they do not get enough. We're not talking about them enough. They are so messy. They're so weird. Joe Gorga's,
they saw Old Navies and said, I raise you. But remember the Old Navy one?
You. Yes. It's like, I see Old Navy, and they were always doing them with the movie premieres, which is interesting. Yeah. But Joe Gorga doing a Rayo's commercial with his chubby little Italian fingers was so funny. And their poor kid has to be in it. It was cool, though.
I know.
I love that for them. That was all I really wanted to say about that.
Okay.
Then we get into OC.
Okay, before, I just want to say one more thing.
Oh.
Have we ever known a Bravo Leb to enjoy this newfound fame quite like Jesse Solomon? Because he is posting around the clock. It's almost like, I don't know how many minutes of his day are not on the internet, on social media. Like, maybe when he's sleeping, and that's it.
But this is what I want to ask you, and you don't even follow him. Do you follow him on TikTok? Because I know we're still getting you to TikTok.
Yeah, no, I don't.
TikTok's it's even worse.
It's around the clock. Who's got the time?
I guess this is going to be his new job.
This is 100%. He is like
100%.
He said, influencer. I'm here.
Here I come. I'm not mad at it though. I like his goofy little face.
It's a lot. Like, I'm down for an influencer, but it's so much. If I was his family or anyone around him, I'd be like, can we just, like, what if it was just you and I right now having dinner and we weren't posting it? Could you imagine?
I need you to get on TikTok. I need you to get on TikTok on the reg, because it will blow your mind. Anyhow, I also heard that apparently there was a scene filmed with New Girl Lexi where he meets the parents. So it might not be as big of a fuckboy summer as we thought.
Oh boy.
Just an FYI, throwing that out there. Okay, OC, what do you think? This episode annoyed me on so many levels.
So many.
But not the same as you.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Alexis is so desperate for this storyline with Shannon. Like, Shannon wasn't even really taking the bait, and then she comes out with these one-liners, and I'm like, these were obviously all pre-planned. I think the entire internet is talking about that. And then Alexis saying it's weird for her to film and be around Shannon. Bitch, you signed on for this specifically, and you cannot tell me otherwise.
And then to sit there and be like, it's so weird for you. We had sex twice today. Like, Ew. No one
Ew.
wants to know that you had sex with Johnny J. We're so
Johnny
good on
J.
that.
Wow, you took the bait on
And
that.
then I did. And then we're all just sitting there like, okay. And then Emily asking the promised first promise about her stupid ring. And Shannon's just sitting there after a relationship she's been in with this man for years. I just think there's a certain level of respect. If like you're fully doing this to rub this in Shannon's face. And the show was set up this season to try to make us, I feel like I said it last week, I feel like it was set up to try to make us not like Shannon, and all it's doing is making me have this sympathy for her that I've never had before. And it seems like it's making people come together for her in a way that Tamra Judge is gonna hate.
Wow, Bravo just keeps getting it wrong.
I know.
They really are. But okay, to that point, when she's talking about like this, the having sex, the promise versus the promise ring, like saying that it's weird for her. It's like you're talking about these things for your storyline with Shannon. So don't say to us that it's weird. It's not weird. You literally signed the contract knowing that this was the plan, that this is how you were going to be on the show this season. Like who do you think you're fooling? It's not us.
And this ain't her first rodeo. Like she did seasons of Housewives. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing.
She's an oddball.
I can't believe you haven't seen. She's so bizarre.
She is
so bizarre.
Weird.
Tamara used to call her Jesus Jugs. Very interesting.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
You know what? Tamara can also suck it. She's the Teresa of the show.
I love that. Talk more about that because I really loved that analogy. And I heard the Watch What Crappens guys. I listened to them on Jeff Lewis, and they said Tamra Judge will do anything. Like she's not here for her friends or loyalty to her friends.
For the show.
Her loyalty is the producers and her storyline.
Yeah.
And just talk more about how I thought it was interesting how you said she's the Teresa of the show.
Because they make these like blanket statements about other people, like Teresa. You could probably do side by sides of Teresa being like, she's just a bad person. And then you have Tamara being like, she's just a bad person. And it's like they make these blanket statements and totally remove themselves from having anything to do with those issues when actually they're so part of the issue. Like they don't know how to take any accountability at all. And but they love to stir the pot and be like, oh my God, she's such a bad person. It's like, bitch, what?
Yeah. What about you being the bad person as one of her former best friends? Why was she having a conversation? And then she has this conversation with her and Eddie at this, whatever they're at dinner, lunch, whatever. And she's like, Shannon, I just can't stand her because she's telling people she's not drinking anymore and she's not telling the truth. And she starts crying. Like, how is this about you? This is one of
Eddie said that.
And like, this is one of your former best friends who just went through a really shitty time in her life. Aren't you concerned for her that she's drinking? Wouldn't that be the move?
Yeah, it would be. It should be. The other thing is like, I'm sorry, but when Tamara drinks, it's not great either. Like she gets like so feisty. I mean, if you watch just back last season, every time she's having a drink, she's blowing up on someone, and then the next episode is her on the apology tour. So like, if that was like, if I was in that situation and I found myself having to apologize like often to friends and people that I care about after I was drinking, I would be like, maybe this is not it for me right now.
And it's so funny that last season when Tamra came back, was it last season Tamra came back? Yeah. She used Shannon as like her rock to lean on and her person to lean on to get back into the show and to get everyone on her side. And then the second she needs another storyline, it's like, oh, it's to hate Shannon. Anywho, what did you think?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I also don't like when she's saying, like, you're talking shit about me behind my back to Shannon about the ego thing. Like, well, I mean, you do have quite the ego. So it's like, if someone was saying that behind your back, I can't imagine that same person probably wouldn't address that to your face. Like, this is like kind of your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the OC, my friend just told me that she booked her wedding welcome party on the rooftop of one of the places in Laguna that has been on the show. That has nothing to do with this, so I don't know why I'm talking about that. Anyhow, I'll do my best. You can be my +1. Jen's situation, you wrote in our outline that you feel for her.
I feel for any single mom that's like having like money troubles. I think this is always, I've talked about this in therapy, so this is like my own shit. But I feel like I live in constant fear of and I think anyone is almost like 2 paychecks, 3 paychecks away from being homeless. Like something can happen where you're just like left. We see it. We look at the the homelessness now from when it was before. But like, I remember, there's times when I've walked around, especially like during the pandemic and kind of coming out, like you can tell when people are newly homeless, and that like hits a certain like, oh my God, like fuck. And so I just feel like I have a lot of compassion for anyone that's like in like that situation. But with that said, like I know that everyone's like, get your ass up and work kind of situation. Yeah, I agree with that. But like the way that Gina is talking about this to other people I understand it's like you guys are on a show together, but you just you're building your real estate like reputation. You just probably took it down in one 40-minute episode of Real Housewives.
Okay. So first I want to talk about what you were talking about homelessness and how everybody's 1 or 2, 3 paychecks. I think the thing and the reason why I can't feel sorry for her is because, like me and you, we know how to hustle and have always hustled for jobs, to get a job. If like I've been laid off more than once, and the next day I was working. I'm there's a hustle that goes involved that I feel like the reason people are coming at her, and like Gina mentioned, like she has her makeup done, she's in new clothes, but like, are you hustling for your 3 children to do whatever you need to do to keep them in that house? Because I know single moms that have had to actually hustle who weren't able to call daddy at 47 years old to have him come save the day. And for me, that's the problem that I have with the situation from what I'm seeing. Like, it's true, we don't know what she's doing in the background, like in what she's doing for work, but I just feel like that whole scene with her dad and mom in the kitchen was so uncomfortable, to be like, Dad, you really saved me. I shouldn't have to be doing this. She's right. She shouldn't have to be doing this at her age. And I think the unfortunate thing for Jen is she's relied on a lot of men in her life to kind of guide the way. And I think that's something I learned really early on, was like, you do your own shit. Like, you have your own shit. You hustled for your own shit. Like,
I guess my only like rebuttal to that would be, she grew up in Oklahoma, and it was so
even more so
for
to
her
like
to rely, and they have the 5 kids. Like, there was clearly an agreement, not to mention her ex worked for their family, so like she thought she was set, like that was the plan. Like I guess, like, to go more on your side, like, she was the one that walked away and, like, kind of blew up her whole family because she wasn't with the guy anymore. And she kind of touched on that a little bit. Like, she has had thoughts like, I should have just stuck it out. Like, I should have just...
But I think it's also, like, before, like, where's your plan? You have 4 kids. Like, what's your plan to then raise these 4 kids and to provide for these 4 kids that's not with a man involved? And I think the fear and what Gina's
trying... The plan is the show, probably.
Right. And also to rely on new man Ryan, who...
And also, like, she probably doesn't feel like she has a huge skill set. She was a mom only. Probably doesn't have I don't even know if she went to like... I feel for these people who, like, these older generations that are like, the young people are always getting the jobs and that kind of thing, because it's so true. Like, they're not going to give you the job before someone... I
mean, she's not that old. She's only 5 years older than me. Like, she's not that old, Like, I just think, like, to Gina's point, like, or to Tamara's point, even like when she lost, when she moved, when everything happened with her husband, like you go out there, you hustle. Like if you have to work fucking waitressing or doing the things, like you figure out your skill set. That I just think she's also used to having daddy save her from these situations.
Yeah.
You were saying, did I watch The Bear?
Yeah, but then I was just, never mind. Because I don't know.
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have almost been less on her side. Not like I would have had a little less compassion had the rest of the women not been talking about her and the way that they were. It was so it was never coming from a place of like concern. It was so gossipy.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like about it. Like I think they could talk about it and have compassion while they're talking about it, because I know they have to talk about it. We're on a reality TV show. But it was the gossipy nature in which they were talking about it, especially Gina. Like the way that Gina was making this about her was
wild. But imagine you stuck your neck out for someone and then they didn't why didn't
don't air that on TV. No client is going to trust you again.
I don't think that's true either.
Oh my God.
Because what did she
you guys should blew up your entire career.
I mean, she's in the OC where people do shadier shit for less. Like, I just think like, I don't think she would ruin her career in a sense. Like if I was Jen, why wouldn't you come to Gina first and be like, hey, FYI, I fucked up. I'm not able to afford this. Like, I know you're my friend and this is fucking you over. Like, that's the part for me. I think it wouldn't have been as big of a story for Gina if Jen didn't just go to her and tell her what's going on. Instead, Gina found out online.
And that's a fair point. I still think the way Gina handled this is like so
it's
disgusting.
Weird. There's a part of me, I think there's a part of me that there's part of Gina that feels triggered by what's going on with Jen. Because Gina, when she got divorced, had to live in this small, tiny place that had to, figure it out. She lost everything from her husband. And maybe there's like part of Gina that's feeling triggered, which is why she's reacting the way she is. Or there's more to the story, because it is interesting the way that Gina is reacting. It's also not like Gina to react like this, in my opinion.
And maybe she's going through her own shit. But from what I've seen thus far, could totally change next week. I don't care which way this is painted in this moment. I am not for Gina portraying this. Like, no one can convince me otherwise that Gina is approaching this the right way. I think what she's doing is disgusting, frankly.
I've seen worse. Not from Gina, but like,
I'm just saying, like,
Bravo,
and I'm sure I've also seen worse. We've had fucking Scandal. We've seen worse. I just think my mind right now cannot be changed about the way that Gina is handling this and turning this in. Some of the statements that she's like making and like reprimanding Jen at the coffee shop. It's like, sit the fuck down. Take your hat off.
It is. She really does love a hat and like a railroad hat. Yeah. Just an interest of time. I think we beat this to a pulp also. Anything, should we talk about Jersey real quick?
Sure.
Do we have to?
There's not really anything to say.
There's really not. I mean, yeah, what is there to say? There's this Teresa where she's like alluding to this lawsuit that she thinks she's going to get.
What do you think that is?
So apparently Marge helped Louie's ex with information needed for a restraining order against Louie.
Got it.
And so apparently next week it's going to be all explained to us. And the thing that I find so bizarre is how Teresa talks to her 20-something-year-old daughter for advice. That feels so backwards to me. Like, even in my 40s, I still go to my parents for advice. And the way that Teresa's kids are so involved in her personal life just feels icky. I can't explain it in another way.
Yeah. I guess to me, I'm like, they've been on the show since they were young. She's been on the show. Yeah. She's been to jail. Like, I just think
it shows an immaturity in Teresa that we all like know about.
I'm like, I don't think that's like any surprise. Actually, Gia is like way more mature than Teresa. So
exactly. 100%, even though I'm like, get off my TV screen. Then we have the Jen and Teresa sit down, which they have been teasing this the entire season and all of the trailers, that this is going to be this like big conversation where Jen's confronting Teresa, and it's a freaking, what do you call
Nothing
them?
burger?
A nothing burger. It's literally Jen being like, I don't like it. And Teresa's like, okay, you don't like it. That's fair. All right, let's eat some calamari. And then they go about their day. I'm like, this is stupid. Like, Teresa expects everyone to be loyal to her. And she agrees and says she understands all of it, but nothing's going to change. She's not going to change how she moves at all. At all.
No. Well, I don't think, like, from what I've heard, I was listening to Bravo and Cocktails podcast the other day, and she's B or whatever, one of the hosts is like a huge Jersey fan, but she was saying, she's like, as much as I'm rooting for the show to come back, that there actually is no plan as of right now. Like, not a reboot, not a spin, like, there's nothing right now. Yeah. It is like, the show is done, could be done for good. Like, that was Jersey, it had its run. She wasn't sounding super optimistic about, from what she's hearing on the background.
Did you ever watch the original, like the first few episodes of Jersey? Not the first few seasons of Jersey?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing through.
That's where it's at. Like, the best part for me right now that's coming out of Jersey is the shit talking between Danielle and Jen Aiden and these shady little digs. They're just keeping it alive for me, I gotta be honest. Yeah.
Did you see the stuff that came out about John Fuda?
What? That he sold more weed? Like,
no,
what?
It was
what? No, what?
No, bad.
Is it bad?
Like, he pistol whipped, tied up.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
It was in the paper already, and he was arrested for it. Pistol whipped, robbed, I think tied up. Hold on. I'm gonna Google. It was a home invasion.
How long ago? Oh.
Yeah, home invasion. Linked to violent home invasion in 2008. So, there was a financial crash. Times were tough.
That's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or it's 16 years ago. So 16 years ago, I was okay. He wasn't 18.
He wasn't?
I mean, how old is he? Oh, yeah, he probably was 18.
Okay, the suspects allegedly ordered all 5 victims to get down on the kitchen floor, where they were bound with duct tape. The suspects then demanded one of the male residents to tell them the location of a stash of drugs and money. When the victim did not cooperate, the suspects pistol whipped and kicked him as they lay on the floor. Okay, wait. Reading this is a little different because...
Yeah. They're saying suspects. They're not naming him specifically.
Well, no, it was him. There's an article and his face on it. But, again, I don't like... I sound
allegedly
like a apologist, but it sounds like the house they were going to also had drugs and money. So it's not like it was like some like cute little family at home just minding their own business. Like, there was clearly probably some like inner turmoil already. Like, I know people that this has happened to, and it was both parties were in the wrong.
And if you figure it was 16 years ago, I think he's in his early 30s. Not to say that, but I'm sure he's paid his dues for this. Yeah. I don't know. Am I apologizing for John Fuda?
Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
I guess we probably don't have time for it here, but it was wild.
At Temple, I'm assuming.
It was at Temple.
Yeah. Shocker.
And we didn't
send your kids to Temple. It's a great school.
The education's great, truly.
It is. It really is. One thing I'm really looking forward to, and again, I'm going to keep pushing TikTok on you, but one thing that is getting me through now that the Love Island is over is the Olympics are starting this weekend. I am so hype. Olympic TikTok, Olympian TikTok is where it's at. So if y'all have a chance, do your thing, get on get the Olympian TikTok, like all of the Olympians TikToks in your algorithm. Hopefully listening to this will get that and make that happen, because the shit they're posting is so funny. It's so entertaining. It's heartwarming, and you see the good, the bad, the ugly, and then all of the fun little stuff in between. But anywho, we will be back next Friday with a brand new episode. God knows what we'll be talking about then. If you don't already, like and subscribe, and follow us on
Twitter.
And Twitter. We're new on Twitter at Bonded by Bravo Pod.
Just at Bonded by Bravo.
at Bonded by Bravo. And tell your friends about us. Tell them to listen to us on Apple and Spotify. Like and follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Bonded by Bravo Pod. And we will be back next Friday with an all new episode. Thank you, friends. See you then.
Okay, bye.